chaos. Of course, I'm talking about Colby Covington. Colby, what's going on, man? Are you home in Oregon for the holidays?
What's up, brother? Thanks for having the king of the welterweight division and the undisputed best welterweight in the world back on the show. I'm out here in Eugene, Oregon, in the 541, my home, celebrating, resting, relaxing, and getting ready to make my mark this year in 2018. I will take over, and I will be the best welterweight of all time.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I know rest and relaxation with the family, very, very important stuff. Do you have a holiday party planned or, just kicking it with the immediate family?
Yeah, of course. I had to organize ugly Christmas sweater party. I gotta be sporting my Merry Christmas, you filthy animal sweatshirt. So, I had to make sure the fam and friends got together for an ugly Christmas party.
That catch line ties into Christmas pretty well with Home Alone, huh?
Yeah, it ties in real good. They go hand in hand.
So, listen, man, there's a lot to discuss. You've been pretty busy in regards to making headlines, as always. But let's start with the fights over the weekend. First off, what did you think of Rafael dos Anjos defeating Robbie Lawler? Were you at all surprised about how that fight played out?
Nah, man. I thought RDA looked slow. He looked old, man. He looked like the same guy that I've been calling out since Singapore. They had to put him on my undercard when I was on the main card because he didn't want to fight me, and he's been ducking me for a while. So he knows what'll happen if we fight. He'll get a young buck who hasn't been tested, a guy who hasn't had all those miles on his chin. Robbie Lawler, man, he's old. He's slow, man. His reflexes are shot. He's taken the most hits to the head in UFC history. So, he's slowed down. The guy can't move. He's a hitting duck, So, I don't think that win is very impressive, man. The guy's shot. He's a former training partner of mine. I used to beat him up in the gym all the time as it is. So, I'd recommend Robbie Lawler retiring because, he looks bad out there. He probably wouldn't win the amateur fight right now.
Yeah, it was really surprising knowing the Robbie Lawler that we've all seen in his past few fights. Rafael really did put it on him, but you make a great point there that maybe the mileage of Robbie's long career might be catching up with him at this point. I know you've been after Dos Anjos for a while now. You've called him out yet again after this fight. He declined to comment, poked some fun at your Twitter followers. Considering that he's blocked you on Twitter and he's refused to fight you, and also really doesn't seem to be interested with Wonderboy at this point. Do you expect him to try to wait out for Woodley to come back? And do you think that's a reality of the UFC making that fight?
Yeah, I expect him to wait out because he knows, if he fights another fight, he's not going to have that title shot. It's going to be ripped from under his feet. He's not that good of a fighter, and he knows it. He's at the end of his career. He's trying to cash in on one more title fight. But, I don't know if the UFC will grant him because, the guys like RDA and Woodley are what's making the UFC fucking bad again, He's out here trying to stake claim to a mountain, but he needs to get out of the way. Woodley's gone. Time to make this division great again. If people are sitting on their ass like him, calling his shots, that's the reason this division is a mess in the first place. RDA wants to be Woodley. He's going to get skipped. Plain and simple. Regardless if RDA fights me or not, I'm going to take them all down one by one, starting at the top. Anyone that wants to climb up to the mountain is going to get kicked off by King Colby.
So I know you had discussed an interim title fight with RDA. I mean, how long do you think Woodley's going to be out? Do you think that is a real likelihood that there will need to be an interim title?
Woodley's going to be out as long as he gets these little extra roles and these little movies in Hollywood where he can go straight to DVD. That's all he's looking to cash in on. He ain't looking to cash in on as welterweight champion anymore. He doesn't have it. He's lost a step, and Woodley knows he's lost a step. That's why he fights conservative and backs up and fights. So, I think Woodley's going to be on the sidelines. He's going to keep continuing to go to Hollywood and talk about TMZ and about the Kardashians because he's a gossip girl. That's what he is now. He's not a real fighter anymore. So, I expect Woodley to be out for a good majority of 2018, and maybe we see him back in the winter of 2018.
Wow, that would be a long time. So, to your point, that might justify an interim title for the meantime. I know you poked a couple jabs at him this week as well. Said he's a terrible actor. He was campaigning for the fight with Nate Diaz, and when that fell through, he opted for the surgery. Do you think he really needed the surgery at this point on his shoulder?
No, he definitely didn't need that. I have inside information that they're saying 100% he didn't need it. He hasn't fought Damian. The last time he fought Damian Maia, I think it was about 6 or 7 months ago, and the doctors had told him, hey, man, you're good. You know, you don't need to get the surgery. But, you know, why would you wait that long to get a surgery if you really needed it? You know, he was just contemplating because he wanted to get the St. Pierre fight. He wanted to get the Nate Diaz fight, and he would fight them. But then once they fell through, he's like, fuck it, you know, I'll use this as an excuse. This can buy me time so I don't have to fight the number one contender, which is me. So, you know, it's a fake, it's a front, you know, and it's fake news.
Hashtag fake news. Now, along with this, you know, speaking of time and the layoff that he'll have, you had put the idea out there that you guys would coach against each other for the next series of Tough. I personally think that would have done really well considering all the animosity and, you know, your skills on the mic in front of the camera. Was that something that you came up with, or was that discussed with the UFC at all?
That was discussed with the UFC. You know, that was an idea they were throwing around with my manager, Dan Lambert, the owner of ATT. So, you know, they were throwing some ideas out there to kind of spice up the show, to bring some drama, bring some ratings back to the show. And you know, it makes sense. You know, me versus Woodley, that's a sell, man. We have a lot of history. This is going to be a bigger fight than any fight in UFC just because of the history in the past and just all the bad blood and animosity that goes, just all the little elements that add up to it, you know, being former training partners, you know, and this and that. So, you know, the UFC wanted to make that, and that was the top of their list, but, you know, it's another thing to try and get the diva gossip girl, Tyrone Woodley, to sign a dotted contract against me.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, I could not agree more. I think that the ratings would have done pretty well. Again, the animosity between you guys, everything that you just mentioned there, former training partners, and considering the ratings have kind of been in a slump for the Ultimate Fighter, that would have been a really good move on the part of the UFC. But, you know, speaking of Tough, Kamaru Usman said this week that you were offered to coach against him for the next season of Tough as well. He also says that you declined to fight him and that you would hurt your toe. Is there any truth to either of those statements?
Who is that? I've never even heard of that guy in my life.
All right, well, we'll move on. Well, actually, tell you what, there was just a couple more things I wanted to cover with him. You know, Helwani had asked Kamaru if he thought that you're a racist. You know, he had said no, but he wanted to prove a point to all the immigrants out there. What's your response to that? And do you think he just has a beef with you that's maybe from the Black Zillions ATT beef from a few years ago?
Man, I still have a hard time thinking of who you're talking about. You know, if we're talking about Damian Maia, the greatest Brazilian welterweight to ever do it, the guy has the second most wins in UFC history. He is the best Brazilian welterweight. I can't believe that RDA is trying to even compare himself to Damian Maia. Damian Maia would slap RDA silly if they ever had to fight. So, you know, it's just a complete joke that RDA is trying to even consider himself up there as a Brazilian great when he's not even on the level of Damian Maia.
All right, fair enough. Now, so with Woodley out for the foreseeable future, RDA won't fight you. What's the plan, man? I can't imagine that you want to sit out this long.
Yeah, I'm here to make the welterweight division great again, man. I am the king, you know, and I'm an active king. If RDA and Woodley are going to sit out, you know, there's only one other logical choice, and that's going to be Wonder Boy. You know, I'm going to have to take him down and beat his ass, you know, cut that little dude up like a pumpkin.
Yeah, I know that Dos Anjos said, as I mentioned, he called out, Thompson had called out RDA. Dos Anjos again seems like he's gonna wait for Woodley. Do you think that's a realistic fight to make in the next coming months? And is there a timetable for you to make that fight happen?
Yeah, of course it's a realistic fight. Look at the rankings, man. The guys you were trying to talk to before, they're not even anywhere close to me in the rankings. I'm number 3 in the world for a reason, man. So I'm either fighting number 2 or number 1. I'm not fighting behind me, man. I've had a good career. You know, I've never been touched in my career, never lost a round. It's time to take my throne, man. This is my division. I've been saying this for a long time. So, you know, the RDA thing is a complete joke. You know, the guy is 3-2 in his last 5, man. He lost 2 fights in a row. He got knocked out by Eddie Alvarez. He got beat up by Tony Ferguson. Shit, he got put to sleep by a 45er in Jeremy Stevens. The guy's a fucking bum. I don't know why he's coming up to welterweight thinking he's this great. He's got a win over Tarek Safdie in his first fight. He won a decision against a guy that was on a 3-fight losing streak. He goes out and submits a Neil Magny who's completely worn out and shot and on a 2-fight losing streak of his own. And then he comes out and he beats old Robbie Lawler, who's on a 1-fight win streak and has the most mileage on his chin in UFC history. He's the most hit fighter in UFC history. And Robbie Lawler was on one leg the whole fight. Come on, dude. RDA's not even up for the title shot. I don't even know why they're even talking about him up for a title shot. Let's look at my resume. Let's look at how I finished Damian Maia worse than Tyrone Woodley did. He was left in a pile of blood in front of his home countrymen. RDA is not up for a title shot, and I'm getting RDA next. I don't care what they said. I'm the king of Brazil, and I'm going to take my throne, and no one's stopping me right now.
Yeah, you had called him out for not living in the country of Brazil anymore, obviously trying to get under his skin with the comments about his home country. You would think that he would want to defend that honor to some extent. Are you surprised at all at his unwillingness to fight you simply for the fact of the stuff you said about Brazil?
Yeah, I'm completely shocked, but at the same time, I'm not. It's like, I'm shocked that he doesn't want to defend his country, but then I'm like, I think about it, oh yeah, I'm the guy that he would have to defend it against. He doesn't want to defend it against me, man. These guys know I'm the best welterweight in the world. Make no mistake about it. I will not be stopped right now. Tyrone Woodley, we trained together. We've had multiple days, hours, months of training together, and he's never beat me one round at American Top Team. He knows how good I am. He knows I won't be stopped. He knows I'll kill him in a matchup. RDA, same thing. He knows I'm a terrible matchup. He's slow. He's old. His wrestling sucks. His jiu-jitsu's terrible. He knows he wants to defend his country. He wants to be a hero. He wants that image, but he doesn't want what comes with that. He knows me. I'm on the other side.